Okay, good evening, guys. So tonight I actually did a review or a study on the JetBot that I've been building. I know I've done a few videos on some light research that I did on that. And what I've done this evening is to put together a uh, kind of. I did some back testing over the 3 weeks and put together a few things that would all the different, I guess, all the different variations for this particular bot. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull that up right now. So right here, and I guess let's move this over to the other side here because I like to work on that side. So what we have here on this screen is a breakdown of the entries and stuff that I've seen over the past 3 weeks. So this is a breakdown of that. Remember, if you remember from the last time, I was going to be building a bot based on GameStop, AMC, and Bed Bath and Beyond. That's kind of the stocks that more meme stocks, that or whatever you want to call them, but fast-moving stocks based on social media. That's kind of what they are. So that's what I was working with, and I want to kind of go over my findings for the JetBot that I built for this and kind of go over each one of those in comparison with the three stocks. And I want you to know that, I put a lot of time into creating this and the research. So what we're going to be doing is a recap. And anytime I do a recap on study, it can look like this stuff came about quickly or, it was easy, I guess, to actually accomplish something like that. And I don't want you to think that in any way, shape, or form, because creating these things is very complex and it does take a lot of time to get something like this actually put together. So I don't want you to think that it was easy in any way. So just get that out of your head and let's go ahead and look back over these findings. Okay, so GameStop we have, and we're going to go ahead and click this up and go back to August 1st. If you look at the chart, you'll see GameStop actually through two that hit second profit, or what's listed on here is the second profit line. Second profit listed up here in this thing is 3.35%. So with this particular strategy, it actually made two runs down this day of a 35% moves, or not 35%, 3.35% move. So with this strategy, one of the things that I found was your entries were the entry on this particular stock's entry at the pullback of 0.94% after the entry signal. So one of the things that I had noted in one of the other videos is I noticed that the stocks after this jet entry was being thrown, we were getting almost a 1% pullback on the stock before it actually did something. So I did talk about actually shorting the stock and trying to capitalize on that 1% move. But instead of doing that, I decided to reverse it because I seen larger moves going the other way. I decided to make it a rule. Again, I made it a rule that I would wait if until the stock pulled back a full 1% before I entered. Now up here you can see on my thing it's actually 0.94%. Hopefully you guys can see that written there on the screen there. It's entry at a pullback of 0.94%. Now that was done through many checks back over. I noticed that there was a couple that didn't quite reach the 1%, and I wanted to make sure I capitalized on as much of that without losing that. Now also I set a loss cap of 0.60%. Now this is a percentage point away from this where the stock could actually pull back just a little bit more sometimes before it did it. Now, if I don't get the 0.94% entry, or right around there, sometimes I could wait knowing that the stock could pull back another 0.60% or 0.6%. So anyway, hopefully you guys can tell or see what's actually happening as we go through this. So This right here, this is the entry. Now we're going to see if this would have been a successful entry based on the rules. So the entry comes across, there's the entry. Now we're going to take a measurement from the top of this stock. We're going to go ahead and take a measurement from the top of here, and we're going to see whether where we would have got in at 0.94. So if I would have grabbed it right at, and I'm going to just make sure it's a little accurate. So right at here, this says 0.95, but right there, if that's where I would have gotten in, you can see my stop would have been at 0.60 from there. So my stop actually would have been down here. So that being said, I actually would have gotten in right there. And then I'm hoping for a move of 3.5%. And you can see, or 3.35%, and you can see that is hit right about there. So that's a full move of $1.14 on that, made very successfully. So that's the first profit one there. And you can also see over here, this one's quite interesting because it's not just a one candle entry. So right here, here's the entry. I look for a pullback, but look, it's at 0.66. So I couldn't get in. And then it goes down. I'm looking at it like it's not going to work. It pulls back, 0.78, still nothing, still nothing, still nothing, still nothing. Comes all the way back, and look right there, boom. There's my entry point right here when it finally comes back 0.94%, allowing for my stop loss to, is going to be at 0.60, which is right there. So plenty holds the stop loss, and then at that entry point, now remember I'm looking for a 3.35% move, and you can see right down here, boom. Price is plenty accomplished right there on the full extent of that move before going back. So you can see that's why on this thing it shows 2 profits. So I actually did back testing where I tested each day just like what I'm doing right here. I tested every one of those against the rules. Now keep that in mind. I can't stress this enough, that I'm testing it against the rules that I've created. Now if you're going to fudge the rules a little bit or fix something on your rules, backtesting is the time to do it, to make sure you're capitalizing on all the moves that you can. That's when the time to do it. You don't want to do your fixing, or you can't do fixing when you're actually trading. So backtesting is where you check your bots or your strategies to find out what they're actually going to do. Now this one is showing on August 2nd, and if you'll notice, it says can't take or can't trade, whichever. This is an entry on 8/2 where I actually couldn't take the trade. Now let's look at it. Usually when you see the CT show up, it means that the stock didn't do what it was supposed to do in order for me to get in. Now if you look at that, it went down to 0.79, never really took off, and then finally it gets an entry over here, but it's too close to the end of the day. So one of the things, and I forgot to add that, the time frame on here is this is where it ends at 1400. End at 1400 hours. Okay, so there's no trades. You can't take trades after 1400 hours. It's simply too close to the end of the day to get the full move and for something to actually do that. So this strategy cuts off at that particular point. So now I'm going to kind of skip up a few days to kind of show you some other things that have happened. So here's one right here. This one's very interesting too. This one is showing on August 8th, and I'll just bump down here and look. This one's showing to be a total loss trade on August 8th, and you'll see it throws an entry right here, and now I'm waiting. Now I have to wait for a 1% pullback. Now obviously you can see this looks like a really good trade. I mean, come on, it did an entry, it did a full 3.35% move. Everything about this is a good trade, but I actually can't take the trade unless it pulls back 1%. So here we go right here. I look for it, and right in here, right about 98.98, somewhere right in here is where I'm allowed to get in. Now, so I've got in. Now, keep in mind, it does a nice move, but if you look at this, it pulls down almost another 3% before actually going up. So it kicks me out at my stop loss point at 0.60. I'm out of that, creating a total loss trade. So regardless of the moves and stuff that it made, this one did not react properly to what we're talking about, or to the jet strategy. So I'm going to bump up a little more and show you days. This day right here, this one looks like such a clean trade. I mean, look at this. The jet throws the thing and it just goes right down. Look, it makes a full, really nice 4.35% move. Really nice move here. But what is it missing that I couldn't take? Now let's just zoom in here and see what actually happened. So we're going to make this a little bit bigger. See if I could have taken this trade or not, because this is a really nice move. Now, what do I need from here? I need a 0.98, or what did I say? It's 0.94. 0.94% pullback. Look at this right here. 0.50. It's a 0.51% pullback. So on this day, when you look at it, August 10th, and you look on my thing, there is one trade that I could not take. So regardless of the move that it made, you put your rules in place so you can capitalize on the biggest moves possible. So this one not pulling back far enough, it's possible, so I'm building the bot right now, it's possible I could be like, hey, let's go ahead and move the stop up a little bit, or move the entry point. Let's say we move the entry point up to what, 0.56 or 0.50%. Let's say the entry point is 0.50. So that also changes all of the other trades. One of the things that you have to look at, what's cool about this, is the entry point is not bad if I kept my stop at the same point. But now a 0.60% stop has to be increased because it's 0.60% from the entry point. So if I increase or decrease my stop thing by 0.94, if I decrease that, and we'll go ahead and let's see, pop the calculator up here. So if I decrease that, then I'm looking at a 0.94 minus a, I'm moving it to 0.50. So that's 0.44 plus, we're going to go ahead and add the other plus 0.60. So I have to move my stop to 1.4% in order for this to actually be a thing. I'm not sure if you're following what is actually happening. So with this spreadsheet that I have, I can actually change my loss cap. I can just click here at the loss cap and change this. What am I going to change this to? Whatever the calculator said it's a, it is, let me go back, a 1.4%. So the calculator said 1.04% instead. And over here at the 94%, I could move this up to the 50% after the signal. Now, by doing that, all of my total loss things that have actually happened, which you see I had quite a few, actually had quite a few total loss trades that happened on through this week right here, the week of the 8/15. Look, there's 4 of them right here. 5, 6 actually puts it up to $1,024 that was lost on this particular one. Now over here it shows you the estimated weekly is $878. So it still did well. And one of the things that we can change, since we did that because we made this modification, is that now on August 10th, let's see, on August 10th, where we had a can't take trade, let's just see. First, we want to see if this actually did 3.35, and it did. So right here, we're going to get rid of this one, and we're going to go over to there. So now, as you can see, we've actually swapped this up and increased. We grabbed another trade, another trade off of here, and we increased our profit. The profit went up because we were able to get another solid trade, but the loss actually went down a little bit. We had to take a hit on other trades with that strategy because the strategy moved the other direction. So all of these, all these total loss trades actually went up or because of that. Okay, so by messing with that strategy, all of it needs to be completely redone to make room for any extras. You actually have to go back and look for anything that would have been an extra. See, the stop loss didn't change. It stayed the same because you can't really move that up. I've seen too many of them come back that close. So the stop loss couldn't move up, but the entry points are good. And one of the things about the bot, let's say like this one right here. So my entry points are said to be at what do we got them at? 0.50 right now. So this is actually the entry point. Now, when this is happening on the entry point, this is a pretty solid red candle. So when I'm looking at it and it's ticking back, I'm going to be able to see my stop loss line, which my stop loss line is at, all right, 104. Stop loss line is at 1.04. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back to right here. So when I see it cross this line and keep going, I can just keep on waiting a second for my entry. So just because I have an entry of 0.50% doesn't mean that I can't get a little bit better entries. And the thing about better entries is it actually reduces your total loss one. So just by executing a little bit lower and not being so antsy on the trigger when it hits that point, just by doing that, I can just wait, and then click that button and get a solid entry a little bit closer to over here before it actually goes up. So that is something that would work, but these trades could still work. Nothing has really changed outside of we changed the entry point so that we wouldn't wait all the time for the full 94% move. You see this one right here coming back. This is where my entry point would have been right there. So if it was still traveling down that line, any other time I can get in on that one. At any other point in time I can get in on that line lower than the 50%. I'm going to be increasing the chances or lowering the amount of loss that I actually take when it hits the stop loss and goes total loss. So keep that in mind with that when you're bumping through there. Now, one of the things also, so when I look at these things over here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger real quick. So on here, you see that GameStop actually produced down here a $4,020 profit with a $1,270 loss, which this is, let's check this formula here. Yep. So this $2,750 that it actually made on this one looks pretty good with this. Now you look at AMC, it actually produced 2010 with a $416 loss, but it did it only at $1,594. That's not bad. Now look at Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond was a complete dud with the JetBot. So this is what I was telling you about profiling your stocks first to find out whether they're going to fit. So I picked these three because I thought they were close in like similarities as far as being popular stocks on social media. But Bed Bath & Beyond actually didn't make the cut. I mean, there is no way I would execute the JetBot based on this data. Absolutely not. Like, it's out. So what I'm going to do, and looking at this over here, this P&L shows based on this results, the P&L estimated weekly is $1,101. But this data is actually based on the Bed Bath & Beyond trade, which I'm actually going to eliminate because of its failure. And if you look now, the 3-week total, $4,344. Estimated weekly is $1,448. Now, this is a trade of a capital of $20,000 buy-in. So each one of these buy-ins at any given time, every buy-in on this, including the total loss, is a total of a $20,000 purchase. And that is obviously 20,000 divided by the stock price, giving you a $20,000 buy-in. And what's cool about this spreadsheet I'll just show you is that you can change this number. Let's say you were going to do, let's just bump it to $30,000 buy-ins. So it will actually, everything increases. So with the $30,000 buy-in, you're looking at an estimated weekly of $2,100 with this bot. Now, keep in mind, I want to show you, this is a $1,900 loss that's taken over these 3 weeks. So at any given time, like this week was successful, this week right here, and this shows you the actual days. So this one's 3,000 on this whole week. This is a $5,000 week right here. Okay. So $5,000 of this money was made on this first week. You look at the next one, it took lost day, $0, another 1,000 minus, that was only 693. Then it did another good day. This day only did, so totaling out at $2,000 for that week. But that's not the worst one. Look at this one. This entire week right here totals a whopping loss of $555. So when I tell you that you have to look at what you can expect from the stock as well when you're profiling, you can expect weeks where this bot actually went in the hole. But at the end of the 3 weeks, what did you get? An average total of $2,100 per week. So if you had this really great week, you're like, well, hey, here's a great week, and this one's not too bad, and this one is actually terrible. But this one is controlled. The losses are actually very well controlled during this week, and it comes out not too bad. One of the things that we're going to check, since we're here and we got just a tad bit more time, this one is 624,000 on 8/16. We're going to look at 8/16 on GameStop and see if our tools we had didn't fix anything. You see all these lines are still messed up on this JetBot. Let's go ahead and reduce our screen. So here we go. This one right here, this is very interesting because this is an up trade. Now, if you think about it, I actually couldn't take this trade. And why couldn't I take it? Because I had to go to 0.94 in order to get it. So this entry, this one right here, I couldn't take it. But if you look at this, this goes back to the 50 line, a great entry, and then gives another signal right here. This right here is an excellent entry for me, which means this day right here on August 16th, where I had a total loss trade and another one that hit 8/16. Why am I showing one at first profit? Did I take, what in the world? Is this 8/16? This is 8/16. So 8/16, I actually gave myself that trade. So we don't get anything better than that. All right, let's go look at AMC and see if it's better. So I must have gave myself that trade, but I would be able to take it now. I wouldn't have been able to take it before. AMC on 8/16 has a total loss trade, and you can see right here, this is obviously tanks back and would have totally kicked me out on that. I wanted to see something interesting here. I know I said, the 50%, and I had talked about doing the first candle, like not getting into the first candle. And it's possible with a move like this that you could get in on the next candle instead, but this would violate every strategy you had in order to get that one. But it did get the move that we wanted, but that one isn't any better. And let's look at 817. Let's swap to GameStop first, and 817, because 817 threw two total loss trades on this one, and yes, those are complete breakdown trades right there, so not gonna work. Anyway, one more check on 812 to see if we would have gotten a better entry there on 812. Okay, so this one right here on 812, I had to log a total loss and a break even. So this one right here is probably the break even, given me, because I'll be looking for a pullback, point 50. This is where I would have got in at, and then it would have gone this way, not making the full 3% move, which then would have kicked me out. Once this one kicked me out going this direction, see, I couldn't take this one because I would actually be entered in on this one. So this one is voided. And I do need to log one can't take on GameStop. So then the question is, would I have been able to get in on this one? The only way I could have got in on this one is if this went to, and it is so close. Look at that at 0.44%. To pull back on that. So close to that line at the 0.50. So this would have been a call whether or not that was close enough to actually get in. But it not hitting that line, that's just, and I'm going to do another measurement just to make sure. But that pullback right there, look at that. 0.43%. And this is another question on whether that entry point should be actually tightened up again. You are looking for that pullback for it to get close, and that line's going to be sitting like right there. And whether or not it actually hit it or not, you just want it to be close enough to do that. And keep in mind, the closer you put that line up there, the more likely you are, the bigger stop or the bigger loss you actually have to take. So that would bump this up 1.04, bump this up to 14. So in theory, the loss always goes up when you do that. But this would add one more win if I did that. Which this is add one more win going all the way up here, 3.35. Easily hitting it right there. And so on GameStop on August 12th, we would have had one more win and one less total loss. Should once again, increases the profit on those trades. So you can see the variables. Hopefully, that's pretty self-explanatory on what's actually taking place. But in the back testing that I'm doing, I'm trying to make sure that my rules are solid and set up, and that's what I'm looking for. And you test everything and you look at every little thing to see how you could improve, and you continue to check that, and then you move this trade over to a paper trading thing and practice the execution of that to make sure you have that right. And then from there, if it continues to work on the next weeks and the profits, after you're tracking your profits, then you can go ahead and take it live. So this is another phase of this. The JetBot has actually crossed another line. It even got its own name on here. So it's moving right along on the development process to going live and seeing what it can do. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this out for tonight. See you guys Monday morning.